Hi everyone, it's me Kyne, and this is my final installment of 31 Days of Halloween 2016. And it's this abstract fantasy rainbow lion. I've had this idea in mind for months now. I was inspired by an illustration by Dave Baranes, I don't know if that pronunciation is correct, but I didn't have the multicolored rainbow wig to wear as a lion's mane, so I wasn't able to do the look. But the other day I had the idea to create a makeshift lion's mane with a little bit of clever photoshopping, which I'll show you later on in the video. Obviously you can't use Photoshop in real life for your costume. If that was possible, I wouldn't be sitting here single right now. But at this point, it's Halloween, it's the 31st of October, you probably already have your costume decided. So I'm gonna take this last chance to be a little bit more artistic with my makeup. Let's get started. You're gonna start off by blocking your brows down, and you can use Pros-Aid, glue stick, wax, spirit gum. Today I use Pros-Aid, it's my new favorite thing. And we just wanna make sure that the brow area is flat so you don't see the brow hairs anymore. And then once it's dry, powder it so we can ensure that there's no moisture there, and now we have a blank canvas for the paint. And the face paint is actually very easy. It's 100% face paints, so you can go out and get a palette of colors and that's all you need. I'm using Wolfe FX Hydrocolours in blue, red, yellow, and then a white. Start by putting the white on your little mustache area, and then the nose for the lion's snout. Your chin for like the beard / jaw, and then also the brow bone area to kind of lift the eyes, and then in a line underneath the eye. It helps to look at a reference picture, but I didn't look at one too much since I've done a lion and tiger face paints before. So I kind of knew what I was doing. But another thing about reference pictures is that you don't want to rely on them too much, since you want to focus on trying to create your own original piece of work. I mean, I know I said I was inspired by the Dave Baranes painting too, but I didn't really reference that picture that much because I wanted my piece to be its own. You know, I'd only really recommend reference pictures if replicating something is your intent. Like, for example, replicating the lion's face shape or its strongest features. But anyway, moving on, I'm taking my face paints and I'm basically creating weird little strokes in random areas since I know I want to make it look like just this mosaic of colors. So I place them far apart from each other. And when I'm happy with what I did, I move on to the next color and I do the same thing, placing little strokes in the blank areas until the end when it becomes just like filling in a jigsaw puzzle. The best way I can think to describe what I'm drawing is that it's almost like I'm making shapes of countries or like chicken nuggets. You know, I don't want them to be these geometric shapes with perfect edges and perfect corners, and I don't want them to be dots either, and I don't want them to be just plain lines. I want something organic and raw. You can't overthink it or it'll mess you up. Don't paint with a tiny little brush and a close-up mirror. You have to be liberal with it and paint as if you were painting with your heart's blood. You know, and I say that from experience. I am a big perfectionist, which may come as a surprise because my videos are always a mess. But for me, it's hard to just dive right in with bold colors and not look back, but that's really what it takes to create this look. But with that being said, there are some kind of technical aspects to this look that are worth mentioning. Because blue and purple are deeper, I like to place them more on the outsides of the face, and I place the yellows, oranges, and pinks more on the highlights. I know I said we're doing random colors, but there is some kind of rough meaning behind things. I mean, I still try to be liberal with it, but by placing your colors in strategic areas of the face, it gives the painting dimension and emotion, and it's not just this random paint splatter. And also, when you're working with water-activated face paints, be sure to use a lot of paint. Your product-to-water ratio is very critical for a look like this because if you use too much water, the color payoff is going to be weak and you'll have to layer it. Not to mention, it'll drip down your face and smudge other colors if your brush is too wet. So try to use less water by maybe pressing your brush against the side of the cup or lightly press it on like a paper towel so that the concentration of pigment is stronger. And this way you'll be able to overlap colors since we don't want adjacent colors to blend together. We want each piece of the puzzle to be distinct and bold. Now once everything is covered, you're going to want to take a black face paint on a thin brush and you're going to outline the white areas around the eyes and around the nose. I'm also making winged liner. No, just for the sake of it. And I'm also making a little lion's nose. You can just watch what I'm doing here. And after finishing the paint, I decided to go in and add a little bit more blue. Just because I kind of feel like blue is just a more calming color to look at. So I kind of wanted that color to be a main focal point of this look, as opposed to like a green or orange, which is just not my favorite. And then I'm also painting the upper lip black and the lower one white. Try to keep your lips separated and not press them together. while it's drying. And then lastly, I'm putting in my Camoeyes Starburst contacts and false lashes, and that's it for the makeup. The finished product is going to go a little bit further than this though. If you're wearing this out as a costume, you can do whatever you want with the hair, but I didn't have a good wig or a good headpiece to wear with this, so I had the idea to Photoshop one with my hands. I started by painting my hands with the same kind of color scheme, same kind of idea as the face, and as you can see, if I hold them up against my face and if you squint your eyes a little bit, it almost looks like hair. So I kind of ran with this idea. So I took a few pictures of just my face, and then I took some of just my hands, and then with my face with my hands next to it. I ended up choosing this one to be the base layer of my image, and I'll be photoshopping hands over top of it. So I took a couple of pictures where it was just my hands against the white background, and then I used the magic selector wand on Photoshop, which basically selects anything of the same color, and I used the layer mask tool to make things transparent. When you're working with layer masks, anything that you paint black becomes transparent, and painting it white makes it visible. So you can also use black on a paintbrush or the fill tool to make things transparent. Basically what we want is for the picture to just be our hands. The checkered background that you see just means it's transparent. So when I export the file as its own PNG image, the PNG makes it retain the transparency, and when I open it up and I copy and paste it onto the base image, it just shows the hands and it doesn't show the white background. And then I just rotate it, I move it around to the edges, and I place it around the face the way I wanted to, as if these were parts of our mane. And then I just do the same thing to another image. I took a few shots of my hands at different angles. I mean, even though I know I can rotate them and flip them around, having different angles of my hands makes it look less like I just copied and pasted the same image, and it looks more realistic this way. So I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. If you didn't get it the last time, I'll explain it again. Basically, I click the layer mask button at the bottom, and then I use the magic wand tool to select the white background. And then once it's selected, I fill the selection with black, and when you're working on a layer mask, filling things with black makes it transparent. And then I do the same thing for everything in the background. Using shift-click will help you select multiple areas. And once it's done, and once the background is all checkered except for the hands, I export it as a PNG, and then I open it up again and copy and paste it onto the base. One cool trick is that you can click on your adjustments and then change the hue so that the colors are all different. This way you can get more variety in your colors, even if you're using the same hand over and over. And then I repeat this until I cover the entire face. I use Adobe Photoshop CC for this entire thing. But before getting the software, I used to use Pixlr, which is free and just web-based. You just go on like pixlr.com. It has pretty much all the same resources with the layers and layer masks. That's the software that I used to use. It's what I used for this image, which kind of was the same technique. I'm definitely not a pro by any means. If you see me doing things wrong or like inefficiently, let me know in the comments because I'm still learning and getting the hang of this. But it's a lot of fun. Definitely a cool technique for taking your images to a whole new level that's just not possible through conventional makeup. Well, I don't know, maybe this technique is possible in real life. It's just not possible for me since I don't have any friends that could have helped me with this. But it goes to show Photoshop is not just a tool for, you know, blurring your pimples. It's a form of art just like makeup. And I'm always looking for a challenge and a new way to step up my drag and my artistry. I know this Photoshop tutorial kind of only covered the multiple hands trick, but if you'd like to see how I edit a normal image, let me know if that's something you would want to watch. Anyway, that's the finished look. I hope you guys liked this video and that you enjoyed the rest of my Halloween series. I loved creating this one along with every other look, even though it was a huge strain on my time and my bank account. I'm very proud of the body of work I built up. I can't wait to see what you guys say in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video, which will no longer be tomorrow. I don't know, maybe it will be tomorrow. I have no idea when my next upload will be. I'll just leave you all in suspense. Bye!